How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Marvel Movies Podcast. And this time, Ethan and I happen to be in the same room.
I know, it's impressive.
Yeah, I know. So, Ethan was able to buy a new mic, so now we should be able to talk and have an actual conversation this time. So, and today the conversation is going to be about Captain America, the First Avenger. So, this movie came out 2011. I'm pretty sure. I know a couple months after First Class came out, I'm pretty sure. And basically it's like just the Avengers prequel, I guess.
Yeah.
This one was, I will say, an enjoyable watch this time. Like, we didn't want to die watching it like all the other ones.
That is true.
Because, like fucking Phase 1 has sucked pretty much so far.
Yeah.
Like, the only one I really liked was Iron Man, so...
Yeah. I will say that I did like First Class better than this one.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that First Class did better than this one, but not a bad movie.
Nah.
So I was perfectly fine watching this.
And plus, like, you and I watched this, like, a couple months ago with everybody, so...
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of weird going back to it instantly again, but it's still not the worst thing I've ever seen.
No.
So it's not bad. This movie was definitely one of the how do I say, highlight, I guess, of Phase 1, because the past few like mainline like MCU ones have just been fucking terrible so far. Because after like Iron Man was like Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor. It's like those kind of suck. So it's like, I mean, Iron Man 2 wasn't awful, but it was kind of like, I forget the movie already, so it's kind of like
Iron Man and Captain America are really the ones that I'd say carried Phase 1, so
yeah, definitely. So it was nice to finally have a mainline one that wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
and we're almost done anyway. Next time is Avengers, so thankfully we're almost done, and then we can get to, because I know from here on out we're good, so.
Yeah.
Thank God. We just finished watching a movie like 5 minutes ago, and we have our lists and stuff. So going off of like them carrying it, I guess my first positive is that Chris Evans, like, actually he's Captain America, like the same person throughout every fucking movie, which I think is dope. Because like in the last movie, like, what are you doing? Like Thor didn't feel like Thor yet.
Yeah.
And like Hulk obviously was Edward Norton, so he's a different person, but like Chris Evans like was that from the first scene he was in, which I thought was cool. And like even Black Widow was like, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but like Chris Evans like, okay, I got this, and he's the same.
I know, he really jumped into the role and then kept it rolling, because he's one of the most consistent characters if you really think about it. So like, it was really cool to see his first movie as Captain America. And every time I watch the movie, like, the first scene, like, him just being little is so fucking weird.
I know.
He's got the biggest head and then just the smallest body. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's got, like, my body and he sounds like a hot, sexy man. It's like,
yeah, the voice and the head don't match the body. It is so funny every time I watch it.
It's whack. It did look good, though.
Yeah.
Like, certain scenes, like, when he was, like, in one of the office, like, it looked kind of weird, but for the most part it didn't look bad.
Yeah, definitely. The CGI was almost flawless. You could like, there were some scenes you could see it just a little bit, but most of the time you could barely even tell. I mean, obviously, if you knew what Chris Evans looked like, you'd be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, like, if I didn't know what he looked like, I'd be like, oh, that looks fine, but like, seeing him as like the big buff jack, it's like, dude, you are not me. So it's like, it's just funny.
Oh yeah, little fun fact before I forget. The scene where he comes out, like, after he goes through the procedure, and then he goes over to talk to Agent Carter. She was like, God damn, he's so hot. And then she's like touched his pec. Like, she wasn't supposed to do that. She was just like, oh my God.
I mean, honestly, me, an extremely straight man, would do the same thing.
Honestly, though. Like, goddamn.
Yeah. But yeah, he did look really good once he came out of like the pod. It's like,
Yeah.
dude is fucking jacked as shit. It's like, god damn.
Yeah, he really worked hard for that.
Yeah, seriously. And it's just funny because like Thor is like the dude. Like even in the last movie, he's like, yeah, but like Chris Evans is pretty fucking jacked. So it's like,
I know.
They did a really good job bulking up.
Yeah, definitely. Ugh.
But yeah, so what do you have?
Well, let's see. Believe it or not, like I have a
Nice. There we go.
Yeah. The movie was good, but I don't have a lot of things to talk about it because it was just. I don't know. I'm gonna save this for like the negatives, but it was a very fast story.
Yeah.
So a lot of the connections can be made, but the acting itself, I thought they did a really good job. I just feel like the acting could have been, portrayed better if they had like a good storyline. Because I mean,
yeah, that's how I feel about it.
the storyline was good. Like they had the idea down. I just think the execution wasn't as good. But when you look at the individual characters. Sorry, notification popped up. But when you look at the individual characters, the acting itself, they do a really good job portraying their own characters, and you can tell that they actually want to play the characters.
Yeah, seriously.
Like it's just really good. It's sad that the story itself and the way they jump around, because they do a whole bunch of time skips. I get that they're like, oh, we want to show that he's doing a bunch of acting stuff, but in that time you can't build connections. So that's like however long he was acting for, that you don't get to see him build connections to anyone. And that affected the whole story. And I will say, in Bucky's quote unquote death, like it might be just because I already know he dies, but you go into it, you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, well, he's okay, bye.
Yeah,
because you
I
don't
put
really
that down too.
Yeah, because he's not in the movie as much, for being his best friend. So
seriously,
so when he dies, you don't really care because he's like a kind of just a side character who's there. But obviously, we know future knowledge, he's a huge character.
Yeah, but I feel like that too. It's like, even if this was his death, like even if he never showed back up again, I still wouldn't care that much. Yeah, like because I put that down in my mix too. Is that like all the connections and stuff? It's like I like Agent Carter a lot. I think she's one of the best female characters in the whole Marvel. Actually, I think she's really dope. But it's like when he is with her, I'm like, that's cool, but I don't feel it yet. Like you guys are definitely cool, but like I felt like if she was able to be in more movies, it would make sense. Because it's kind of like Gwyneth Paltrow in Iron Man. It's like I liked them in the first one, but like we were able to flesh them out a lot more in the second one. Yeah. So it's like when they hook up at the end of the second one, it's like, okay, I feel it now. Yeah. But like in this one, it kind of sucks because she can't be in a second one because he goes into the future at the end. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I feel like if they had one more movie together, then I'd be like, okay, we're good to go. But they don't, and even in the movie, they don't really interact that much. No. So it's funny because I can feel it. Like, I'm like, yeah, you two are definitely lovers. I get it. But at the same time, it's like they're not really together so much. Yeah. So. Like,
it's definitely something to add to that is, when he was kissing that other girl, and then she just popped up behind him.
That was weird.
They touched on that for 2 seconds, and then they kissed in the next scene. So it's like, okay, that's another thing. Like, they rushed that connection. Yeah. Like, usually you'd flesh that out more if you wanted to make that an actual plot point. Yeah. But putting it in there itself and then ignoring it is what took away from that. So you have this connection that is rushed, so you don't feel it when oh, Steve doesn't get to dance with her. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
it was sad.
Yeah, it was sad, but it wasn't, eh.
Yeah, I
It
guess
was
that
like-
wasn't as impactful.
Right.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like that's how it is with like everybody. Like you were saying with Bucky too, he died. I was like, oh, who cares? So,
Yeah.
I feel like this movie definitely had like a lot of issues with like trying to set up Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this movie was kind of like impossible to really make perfect without tying it into the Avengers.
Yeah.
Because they needed him to be in the Avengers at the end. So like,
Yeah.
fuck, we gotta bring him to the modern day. So I feel like they really kind of fucked up a little bit. Like I don't, because I'm trying to think. It's like I feel like if they made it into 2 movies, then it wouldn't work. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like this one feels rushed, but I also feel like it would be super boring if they split it into 2.
Yeah, they're
don't
kind
know.
of. It was kind of an impossible situation
Yeah.
because if you look at it, you don't want to stay in the past. So you want to bring together the Avengers as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So they had like, I get putting like, oh, you start him off with like, oh, he's in the ice. That makes sense. And then the ending, that makes sense. But like they had to rush it just because you don't want to make it 2 movies out of it because, again, it's not. They're trying to tie it into all the other superheroes or in the modern day right now. So. Maybe I should stop drinking soda while
Nah,
recording.
you're good.
So yeah, they're trying to connect it to everyone else in the modern day, so they need to bring it up as fast as possible. And especially since, the next movie is Avengers.
Yeah.
So
Even the post-credit scene wasn't even. It was just a trailer for the
Yeah.
Avengers. So that was pretty funny. It's like, oh.
yeah.
really
So
trying to set it up.
they like the impossible situation, they had to do it, but it kind of sucks because again, the whole thing felt rushed.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to talk about is like with Bucky, like Bucky's death scene. It was quick. Like they didn't linger on it. They got on the train, they fought the dude, and then Bucky fell.
Yeah.
That was the whole scene. So it really shows that this movie is more of an action movie than anything, because that's like 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he starts off with his little acting gig or whatever, but then the rest of the movie is him planning and then cut to the action, then go back to the planning room, then cut to the action. And then when whatever his name is, Red Skull died, like, no one cared.
Yeah. It's like he's dead. Okay. Anyway.
Anyways, I'm gonna crash this into the lake now.
Seriously. And he's not even dead, so
No.
there we go. I do think that is funny about going to Red Skull's death real quick. Death. It's just funny because, like, from future knowledge, of course, knowing how the Tesseract works, how it, like, teleports people.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see it teleport people that much, but off the top of my head, I know that, like, Thanos did it in Infinity War a lot. And then Loki did it in Endgame when he disappeared. But I think it's so funny that in this one, when it teleported him, it looked like he was being fucking ripped apart.
I know.
Like, shred. So that's why everyone thought he was dead for a while, because it looked like it just fucking disintegrated
Destroyed
him.
him,
Yeah. So it's just funny. It's like, bro, I understand why, because they're like, oh, he's dead. Yeah. And we don't know how to make it look yet. But it's just funny that watching it now, I'm like, damn, that dude looks like he got fucking ripped to shreds. He's being teleported. So
Yeah, and it was also funny, too, because...
yeah, that was pretty funny.
After he used the Tesseract, it melted through the ship.
Yeah.
So, it's just a little inconsistency there.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because, they're just starting it. But it would be nice if you kept that, carried that over. But with how many times it's used, you don't want it to melt everything.
Yeah.
So, you have to have a middle ground, I guess. And I mean, if I think about it, maybe it was, I don't know, overheating in the machine it was using because it's exerting so much power, powering everything. So maybe that's why it was like
Still super hot.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that makes
also
sense.
could be like overwhelming still with power.
Yeah, because
So
it
it's-
did just teleport somebody.
Yeah, so in like stronger after coming out of the ship, and that might be why it looked
Yeah.
like he was ripping him apart. So there's some things there that could, contribute to that, but it's minor details
Yeah.
that most people just would overlook.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just chalk it up to an inconsistency just to make it easier. But
it's not too big of a deal, but it's annoying a little bit. Where it's like, oh, that's not how it works. Like, how come in this one that's how it is, and then later it's not? So and the Tesseract is kind of like the main, like, again, Infinity Stone. If you guys don't know, it's an Infinity Stone, and it's the first one that we see in the series. And again, I do think that that's cool that they don't really reveal it's an Infinity Stone. I don't even remember when I think it's like Age of Ultron when like we finally find out that it's an Infinity Stone or something. But I just think that's cool that in Phase 1 at least, like, even though like it's just starting out, they're still leading to something that's cool, and even including this. Like, I don't even know if the writers wanted to be an Infinity Stone at the time, like, who knows. But I just thought it was cool that like the Tesseract was at the end of Thor, is in this one, and is a big player in the Avengers. So I think it's cool that they're still like leading into it. And even again, this saga of like phase 1, 2, and 3 are the Infinity Saga, and they right off the bat are showing off like, oh, this is what we're doing. Like, we're going even like not instantly with Iron Man, but like in the next few movies, it's like, okay, here's the Tesseract. It's gonna be super important. Infinity Stone. Like, I think that's cool. Yeah,
they have that slow build up to it. It's like hinting at it. It's like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
And this. Yeah, so I do really like that, because you know it's what really carried it, Marvel to how high it is now. You know, just you took however many years to build up to this one point, and it turned out amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really worked out in their favor in that part. But yeah,
because like each movie led to the next movie, which I think is again something that Phase 4 is lacking a lot of right now. Because like this one, it's like, okay, this movie, well, we ask a question, instantly answer it. Ask a question, instantly answer it. So
there's like, no mystery to it.
Exactly. Like, and again, there is, but not like in like an awful sense where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a mystery that you're not gonna find out for like 10 something years. So it's like I like how they ask questions, don't answer everything, but give us enough where we're not like confused, which is how Marvel feels like right now. So
just like, hey, this thing exists, remember that. We'll check back in 10 years.
Seriously. So, and again, like, that is something that they also do here too with like Red Skull, because again, this came out in 2011, and we don't see Red Skull again until 2018, but it's still like it left with a satisfying enough conclusion to his character that's like, oh, I don't need to see him again, but if we did, it's like, oh, that makes more sense. So
I honestly, watching this, I thought Red Skull was in the first Avengers movie and not in this one, just because I thought it was like, there's so many things going on in this one, and then Red Skull's like, oh, hi. Just like, because he has such a small part in this movie. I'm like, oh, I think he does more in the next one, right?
Yeah.
But then he, you know, dies.
Yeah, and that's just a main issue with this movie. It's like there's so many characters that are cool, but it's like it just feels like it needed to be another movie, but also like wouldn't work as another. So it's just, this movie's pretty much impossible to like make perfect. So it's just like sad, because I don't know how exactly it is in the comics. I know the Red Skull's still around in like modern day, which I don't know. I don't know how. I don't read the comics, so God knows.
Yes, because he looks like he can hide very well.
Yeah, I know. So it's weird.
He's got one of those faces, blends right in.
What was I going? That like pretty much it's just weird, because like he's kind of like Captain America's main villain. So it's just funny that he's only in one movie and is gone the whole rest of the series. So again, he shows up later, but it's a very small role. So it's just like you take out his main villain in the first movie, and he's not even in the movie that much. So it's like when you think of Captain America's main villain, you don't think of Red Skull for like the movies. So
and it's funny because I mean Hydra is still around. By that time, but you completely forgot about Red Skull until he showed up again in Infinity War.
Exactly.
He's just like, oh, hello there. It's like, oh, you still exist. Like, I honestly forgot. I was like, oh, yeah, he's in this series. Like,
yeah, seriously. You haven't seen him for so long. It's like, oh, shit, you. So it's just weird. Again, like, those are the inconsistencies with this movie. But going to, like, some positives more, I guess. I do have enough, but not like a lot. But like I think that like all the stuff in like the 40s was cool. Like I did enjoy all the stuff that was going on there. Like the war, I thought was cool. It was good to like focus on something that's not modern.
Yeah.
And I do like how the past two, like First Class and this one, like it's like a period piece or something like that. I don't know how to say it, but like where it's like, okay, this is Cuban Missile Crisis. This is World War II. Like I like how it's not modern. Like I think that's just unique and stuff because we don't get a lot of that. I think those are like the only two that are Marvel movies that are like that. Yeah. But I do think they did a good job in the beginning of it, at least. Like when he was like a small boy and like they were doing like all that stuff. Like he wanted to be a soldier. Like I thought that was super cool. His character's amazing, so I thought it was dope. But like towards like the second half of the movie is when it like gets like, okay, can we go to modern day now? Like I'm getting sick of this. I don't know if that's disrespectful to say or anything, but it's just like
but it's just it was so much of the same stuff by that point where most of the movie was him, like, the second act of the movie was just him acting and doing the stage performances. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, Bucky's missing. Gotta go find him. Yeah. And then, you know, he breaks him out, and then he gets his team or whatever that we don't even know their names. That's how important they are. Yeah. But, like...
all I remember is the mustache dude and the Asian dude and the French dude. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, they helped, kind of. You know, they were a part of that train mission. Yeah. You know, where were they?
Yeah, I know. Bucky died, and they're just like...
alrighty.
Yeah, we got it. Like, okay. I don't know. Yeah. They were weird. But yeah, it's just like... I enjoyed it, but I feel like this is two movies squished into one again. Yeah. I hate to keep bringing the two movies, but like the beginning and like I feel like once he saves Bucky, like that's when like the first movie ends, I guess, and then the second movie.
Yeah, starts. Honestly, like that slow fade away when they were like, "Let's 3 cheers for Captain America" or whatever.
Like the moment that happened, it was like,
I was like, oh, I guess that's the end. But I know it's not the end, but it was like that feels like an end.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like they could have dragged that out into one movie and it would have been good. But like the second half is just. I don't want to go into that quite yet, but like it's kind of whatever. I'll get into it in a minute. Yeah. What other positives do you have before we go into like the
let's
weird
see.
stuff?
Well, one positive that I did have was Howard Stark was a pretty cool character, I guess. Yeah. He obviously wasn't in it that much, but it was also cool to see like, oh yeah, he's still inventing stuff, you know. You know, the first time we see him, that hover car, he's like, oh shit, it didn't work.
You could tell he was like... That was pretty funny.
So, yeah, and then, you know, when he popped up again at the serum place, and then, you know, Steve's like, wait, he's here? but he can't make a car fly. So, yeah, I thought he was a really cool character to put in there.
Yeah, and I liked, like, how he was, like, basically Tony Stark. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, that's where he gets it from. Like, and the guy who, I don't know his name, but the guy who acts like him, looks like Robert Downey Jr., which I thought was pretty cool. It's like, oh.
Makes sense.
That's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I'm glad they included him because leaving him out would just be weird since, you know, he was, like, the main weapons dealer for the government. So if you left him out, it would have just felt weird, I guess.
And he's the one who made the shield, which I thought was cool. I don't know where he got the vibranium. I guess he dude just like went to Wakanda one day and was like, "Hey yo, this is taking this shit." But
that shit mine now.
Yeah, but like the shield was cool. I guess that's another positive. The shield.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That was dope. I like how he was looking at like these fucking weird ass shields you'd find in like fucking Call of Duty or some shit. But he's like, I want this one.
I want the circle one.
I think it's funny because like Howard Stark's like, oh, that's a prototype. It's like, bro, that's the strongest one you have. give that one to him. He's like, It's like, no. But I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I do like how he was like basically the Tony Stark of his generation and stuff. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Because, you know, he's actually inventing stuff, and he was actually helping the story move along.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just like a cameo. It's like, hey, look, I'm Howard Stark. It's like, no, he's a main guy. So that was. I just wish he was in it more, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's this whole movie pretty much. Like, I wish this happened. I wish this happened.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think the whole problem with it is it skips around too much. The time skips is what takes it away.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, you can't build character connections in time skips because you don't get to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, when he's like taking out the Hydra bases, who knows how long in between that is.
Mm-hmm.
But
because real quick, I think like the beginning is in the 42, and then like eventually we get to like 43 or 45. So it's like it's a lot of years we miss. So you're right. Who knows how long they were?
Yeah, and like is like I get that his whole thing is he's World War II soldier. It's a World War II movie basically, and action. So they have to show the action, but they didn't have to put that much in there.
Yeah,
I think they tried to put like too many battle scenes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if they were afraid to be like, oh, he fought in this battle or this battle, instead of what they did, they showed it, and instead of showing it, you could have just said that he did it and then showed more character connections.
Mm-hmm.
I keep coming back to that, but it's true.
No, yeah,
it's
exactly. It's
one of the main problems with this movie is that they you don't connect to the characters whatsoever. So
and they're cool characters.
Yeah.
Again, Tommy Lee Jones fucking was like a god in this movie. He was awesome. Like, I laughed at everything he said. Like, dude was awesome. Again, wish he was in other movies, but unfortunately he can't because he went to the future. And it's just like, it sucks. It's like, they can't bring these characters back, so I feel like they were like, okay, we gotta make them good because you'll never see them again. And that sucked because it's like, I feel like if they were in like the rest of the movies and I'd love them, they'd be some of like my favorite Marvel characters and stuff. And again, it's cool that Agent Carter is now showing back up again more. Like, again, they killed her off instantly in Multiverse of Madness, but it's cool to see her again. But it's kind of like cool that they're trying to find ways to bring her in other stuff. But it's like Tommy Lee Jones, it sucks because he was awesome, but it's like, but you'll never see him again. So it's just like, I felt like they were rushing to try to like develop them.
Yeah.
I feel like they, like, I don't know how it is, but like it kind of feels like they like wrote out like a trilogy of World War II movies, but like Marvel is like, no, motherfucker, he's got to be in Avengers, so we gotta move him in the future. So I feel like they kind of like, again, I don't quote me on this, I'm not sure, but I feel like they like developed a trilogy and then they had to shorten all of it into one movie. So that's
I mean,
what it feels like.
If Captain America was the first movie that came out, and then like you said, trilogy, they could have done that. Like they could have done like Captain America, then Iron Man, then something, then something, then another Captain America, and then built up like 3 Captain Americas to flesh out that story, and then come to Avengers. But since it was the last movie before Avengers, they couldn't really do anything, so they had to like cram it all in, like you said. And make it as short, but also show as much stuff as possible. Which sucks because, like I said, characters. So,
and what I think too is that, again, you and I, big issues with this show. The shows are fucking terrible. But I do think this definitely would have benefited from a show.
Like, I was literally thinking that.
I was like, I feel like this would definitely be a good show. Like, I don't know.
It's like, I was thinking, it's like, I don't want to say it, but you know what would have benefited a show? And again, I know why they didn't do it, but it's just like, I feel like if they knew what they'd become in the future, of like how big, I think like they could have just made a TV show and then a movie at the end or something. Like, have it be like a season of a show that's like 9, 10 something episodes that are each like an hour long, kind of like a Netflix show, I guess, where it's like the 13 episodes and they're each an hour long or something like that. And they're like fleshing out everybody, developing stuff, and then like season finale happens, and then they make a movie, like, a movie based on the show, and then that's the thing that brings them into the future that ties into it. Because then like we would have had perfect like everything, like it would have felt fleshed out or something, I guess. Like, it didn't need to be like a
fucking 4-season long show, but just
Yeah.
like kind of like how the Disney Plus ones are, where they're like one thing and then whatever. So I feel like that would have benefited a lot more, because then it's like, oh, now I feel more of a connection to these characters. Because again, at the end, it was sad when he died, but like it was just like, if I knew you more, then it would hit me a lot harder. So
yeah, and like you're saying, like, yes, it would be beneficial to have a TV show, but I think that since they were just starting off, and you know, I would assume that they wouldn't have high enough budget for it. So I mean, it makes sense why they wouldn't do that, just because, you know, oh, we're making movies. Like, no one would have thought, like, oh, shows to tie into movies, like all that, but like it would have benefited, I think, because with a show you can keep that going for a little bit while you're making a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, you would have seen more of the characters, and it definitely would have benefited from that. So
yeah, and again, I understand why they didn't, but it just, hindsight, it's like, I feel like that would have done a lot better. And it's just like all the shows that they're making now are kind of feel like pointless to a degree. Like, it's just like, oh, this is a story, but it's just, that's it. Don't worry about it. But I feel like if they did this into a show, it would have been a lot more cool if like they made it and then tied it in, like, oh, by the way, this whole thing is gonna tie into Avengers, which would have been really cool. And again, like, Marvel basically feels like a super long TV show anyway, because it's just so long and stuff. But it's just like, I feel like the way that they did it, like you said, this should not have been like the last movie before Avengers, because like this one was the one that had like the most story to tell, I think. So it's kind of like sad that it was like the last one to come out. Like,
because you have to tell his like whole life story in one movie. Because then you got oh, he's got his second half. But it's. I know we've said it like 500 times, but it sucks that it had to be just in one movie. So.
And, What else do you have for anything else? Because I pretty much said all my positives.
Yeah, so did I. That's all my positives. So
cool. Yeah. What other mix that we haven't talked about yet do you have?
Well, I mean, we kind of said this a little bit, but not exactly. I'd say it's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But mostly because obviously we've seen future and, you know, we know what happens. So obviously that's going to take away from some of the, you know, big story points. But also there's no build up, because, you know, once you time skip, it takes away all the build up you just created.
Yeah.
So when they did that so much, you're like, oh, okay, so we know nothing happened here, so nothing important happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's just anticlimactic. You know basically what's going to happen. I mean, if you never watched the movie before and never any of the future movies, you wouldn't know that Bucky was going to die.
Yeah.
And when he did, you'd be like, oh, he did.
Exactly.
And then just moved on.
And I honestly feel that, like, they actually, like, I don't know when the Winter Soldier comic came out. I know it was kind of recent, like, but when the time the movie came out, like, in the comics, I know it was, like, either early 2000s or early 2010s, I don't remember. But I feel like they were like, okay, obviously we need to make the Winter Soldier, so they were like, okay, we're just gonna kill him off, and then next movie we'll have him back.
Yeah.
And I feel like they knew that, so they just were like, okay, we're gonna kill him, but we're not gonna linger on it, because whatever,
and
he's not really dead.
Yeah,
so.
and it sucks too, because if you look at Steve, he moves on right away. You never see him bring up Bucky again.
Like, he was like drinking, and then that was it. So
it's like, like, drinks, gets sad, you know, almost fucks Peggy, and then dies.
Yeah.
So
it's just like kind of, I feel like they rushed themselves, because like they could have written a good death, but I feel like they just wanted to brush past it so they could like keep moving on in the story because they want to be as fast as possible to get to all the points. Because someone like Yinsen in the first Iron Man, like his death was so much more impactful, and we'd never see him again. So it's like, yeah, that's. And again, they knew that we would never see him again, so they made his death sad. But like this one, it's like, oh, it's just something that happens to happen. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think they should have lingered on it, even if they were going to bring him back, because then, you know, it makes you think that he's not coming back.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's kind of weird in the way that you have to hint that he might come back, which they didn't do. And then it's a mix between hinting and then, oh no, he's dead. Like, you have to try and make it believable.
Yeah.
But they just killed him and then walked right past it. Yeah. So it sucks that, you know, they couldn't build that out more. They couldn't build out a lot of things in this movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing, they were trying to,
yeah.
But it's like, again, it's impossible to make this like a good like perfect setup movie because like it isn't meant to be a setup movie. It's meant, and again, it didn't really feel like a setup movie until like the very end, but it was still like, ooh, do not put this in a single movie. Like, this should have been stretched out to some degree. Again, it shouldn't have been like a 3-4 hour long movie. Like, fuck that. No. But it just should have been something that was better than it was. Because, again, it's not an awful movie. No. I didn't hate it. Definitely, like, again, I'd watch it again. Like, it's not something that I'm like, oh, this movie was fucking terrible. But it's just something that, like, I really want to love, but just can't because there's so many stupid things that are in it that just kind of, like, pulls me out of it. So.
And something I should say about the story is, like, they started off strong. Like, oh, is this little kid, you know, he wants to get into the army, but he can't. He's gone to 4 different states to try and get in. Yeah. He's determined. He, you know, he wants to fight. And then, you know, he's like, he gets accepted, and then he goes through this whole serum thing, and then by the, you know, doctor dies, he has to perform. You know, he's like, oh, this is not how I thought, but I'm helping.
Yeah.
And then by the, you know, third part of the movie, you're like, all right, now it's just action, time skip, action, time skip.
Exactly, yeah.
I was like, dying. I was falling asleep.
Yeah, I noticed, yeah. Like, it's just sad, because it went from a really heartfelt, compelling story to just action. Action. It's like, okay, cool, action's cool, but at the same time, it's like, there's so much of it in the movie that just kind of, like, desensitizes you after a while.
Like, the whole connection between Steve and Bucky at the beginning was great, because, you know, Bucky swooped in to save Steve. Yeah. And then they felt like actual friends, because, you know, it's weird, but he tried to, you know, get a hookup with the 2 girls. But, you know, they're friends. Yeah. And then you don't see him for the rest of the movie, so that whole thing at the beginning means nothing at this point, because you already forgot. Like,
seriously, like, I remember, like, after he was, like, doodling or something, and Carter's like, oh yeah, the 107th. He's like, the 107? That's what Bucky's on. And it's like, oh yeah, Bucky's in this movie. I completely forgot. So I feel like they really should have had Bucky, like, just be with him the whole movie, because then when he died, it would have felt something. But, like, I don't know how long it was, but, like, it felt like he saved Bucky, and then, like, 20-something minutes later, Bucky died. Yeah. So it's kind of like...
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was saved and then instantly died in the next, like you said, 20 minutes. Like, which felt like 5, if I'm being honest. Because, like, it was so fast. So it really sucked that they tried at the beginning, and then obviously it's like... Yeah. Oh, it's a superhero movie. You have to have action.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. And again, I do like when there's action in a movie. Like, if it was just them talking the whole time. Like, there are movies where obviously people talk the whole time, but it's like enjoyable. But like in an action movie, you want action and shit. But like, I feel like Iron Man had a lot of action, but also used it sparingly. Yeah. Where, like, it wasn't, like, constant. And, again, I get it's a war movie, so there has to be action, but, like, there's, like, none in the beginning. And then, like, the last, like, hour of the movie was just full action, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, every 5 seconds there's a new war going on. Like, it montages through, like, so many fights. It's just like, okay, can you fucking move on already? Like, I'm sick of watching this.
Yeah, the thing is, with Iron Man, there was a reason why he had so many fights.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, there's just this one overhead looming war, obviously, so there's always a reason that he should be fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh, we can't have him being downtime because then he's not being Captain America and saving the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that... Hello?
That was subtle.
Like, you know, he's not saving the world, so you have to put him in there as much as possible so that so it doesn't look like he's just sitting around doing nothing while there's a whole war going on.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that takes away from, I'm gonna say it again, character connections.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the next one, again, the next movie, does it so much better that it's not even funny. Like, Winter Soldier is a fucking phenomenal movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I'm glad that in the second one they pretty much were like, okay, now this is a Captain America movie. But it's just, like, sad at the same time, because, like, the second one I think is so good that it makes this one look worse in comparison. Like, again, most of the time, whenever there's a sequel, it's almost never as good as the original. But, like, especially in Captain America's case, like, no. If someone said, hey, which one would you rather watch, one or two? I'm like, fuck you too. Like, clearly. Again, I don't hate the first one, but, like, the second one's just so good that I feel like it definitely lessens this movie a lot. So, it's, like, sad. Because, like, this movie should have been so good, but, like, it just becomes... In the beginning, it's really good, but... Then, like, they montage through the whole rest of the movie that it's just like, damn, this is kind of getting boring, so I want the movie to end already. Can you go to the future now?
Yeah, it's not a movie, it's a slideshow
at
this point.
Seriously, though, it's just sad.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It should have been a lot more than it was.
Yeah. And just to lighten it up a bit, I guess, going into a kind of a mix, because I find it funny, but it's also like, come on. S.H.I.E.L.D. is just terrible at their job. You know, they're supposed to be this big government group spy agency or whatever, and then they can't, you know, keep Steve Rogers from freaking out for 2 minutes.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Put him in a room with a 1941 Mets game. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because there's totally no record of when he actually died.
I know. I think there was a record of when he died, actually. Because, not like a record of when, but, like, around the time. Like, he died, like, around the time the war ended. And I don't think that was 1941, dumbasses. So,
yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D., you need to step up your research game there a little bit. It's just so funny that S.H.I.E.L.D's this huge thing, and then they're just so bad at it.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, I guess they had needed a reason for Nick Fury to come in and be like, oh,
calm down.
Calm down, motherfucker. Yeah. But I mean, it was funny that, you know, he just came out of nowhere. He's like, "You've been asleep."
And then that's it. That's the movie. It's like, oh, okay.
All right, great.
Like, yeah, the ending is very.
Yeah, and then you see Steve be like, "Well, Nick asked, are you gonna be okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just missed the date."
Yeah, and again, that was a sad line to end the movie on. That was depressing. It's like, oh, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But you don't feel like... Because again, like, if someone... Like, if I woke up and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Someone's like, yeah, you've been asleep for 70 years. I'd be like, oh my... I'd be, like, freaking the fuck out. Yeah, but, like, he's just like...
All right, cool. Just missed the date, you know?
Damn, I was gonna get laid. It's like, what? That's your first fucking thought? Like...
Yeah, you don't see the emotion that, you know, a normal person would have.
Yeah.
And I get, like, they were telling us the whole movie, like, oh, it changes your emotions, it boosts it, actually. But, you know, he's a quote-unquote good guy. So if you know, told him he's been asleep for 70 years, you're like, oh shit, I didn't go to the date, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, you'd actually... You know, wouldn't be like, oh, all right, they're dead.
Yeah,
Time to move
seriously. Yeah.
Which it's what he did, and it sucks because that just means that he didn't care.
Yeah.
And that's what it's showing, at least.
Yeah.
That's not what he's meaning, but it's what it's showing. So it just takes away from his character connection.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he didn't live through that whole movie the whole time to have, a human emotion.
Yeah, and again, like, the whole thing of Captain America, he's the man out of time, is what they call him, that he's just from a completely different era thrown into this one, lost everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you don't feel that, really. Even in the whole series, you don't really feel that.
Yeah.
Like, you do, but he kind of, like, gets accustomed to modern times really quickly.
Yeah, sometimes you just forget that
seriously.
This is not the time he was born in.
Yeah, it's just like an Endgame when he goes back in time and finally is able to live his life. Like, it's awesome. Like, yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, you're from the 40s.
Yeah.
I can always forget. So.
Yeah, because like in Infinity War, he's just this cool dude with a giant beard, and he looks in all fucking epic and shit. And like, you completely forget that that's not where he's from.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't really see him questioning. Oh, like, what's that? What does that do?
Yeah.
Because it's bleh.
Yeah. Like, again, I love Winter Soldier, but like instantly in that movie, I felt like they did do a good job trying to have him like having that notebook to like write down things to look at, but like he instantly went from, okay, you just had a whole life and now you got teleported like 70 years in the fucking future. Okay, fight aliens. Okay, 5 seconds later, okay, work for us. All right, you don't get any breaks. Like, we don't get to see you be like, oh my god, I'm living in a completely different fucking era. It's just like, okay, instantly, oh, Loki, fight. Oh, Hydra, fight him again. It's just like, you don't really get to see him like process anything. And again, that's a thing that's a movie. Like, you can't really delve too much into it because you got to tell another story. But I feel like they definitely should have sprinkled in throughout the series more hints of him being like, man, this is cool, but I miss everything that I used to have. I miss this, I miss that. So like when Endgame comes, again, I love Endgame. I think that's my favorite Marvel movie, but it's just that thing where it's like the ending was really cool, but I feel like if they had sprinkled more of him wanting to go back to that life throughout, then it would be like a lot more impactful. And it was super impactful, so I feel like it would have been way more if they just sprinkled that.
Yeah, because like throughout, to my knowledge, I don't remember much of it, but I know that he doesn't really focus on the fact that he doesn't know any of this technology that he's just been thrown into.
Yeah.
So he's just, he adapts really quickly is what we're led to assume.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make sense. But you move past it really quickly. So, I did just think of a positive. The suit is way better than the Avengers suit.
Oh my god, the Avengers.
So dumb.
Yeah.
This one is just so much better. And it's funny to see that him actually using guns.
I know.
It's like one of the only Marvel movies that, well, in my opinion, where the hero uses a gun.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, Winter Soldier does, but he's not really a hero.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to see a superhero movie where they're like, oh yeah, guns exist.
Yeah, because they never, ever use them at all. So it's funny to see. And again, most heroes, like, not most, but especially in Marvel, there are a lot who are like, okay, I am going to kill, but only when I need to.
Yeah.
But like Captain America's fucking mowing down fucking everybody with his fucking like rifle. He's killing so many. He kills so many fucking people in this movie. Like, this movie's surprisingly, like, I don't want to say gory, but like there's a lot of death.
Yeah.
Like, so many people fucking die.
I will say that it's not gory. The most gore we see is the guy going through the helicopter or
That's what I was
plane
gonna say.
blades.
It's not gory,
But it is definitely
brutal. That's a good word for it. It's like,
but at this point, it's weird because you overlook it because there's no blood.
yeah,
But he's killed so many people. But it's war, so he's justified in it.
Yeah.
But it's still like he's a superhero that he stands for good. He's never gonna kill. That's like not superhero thing.
exactly.
But you look in the 40s, like, bam, bam.
Yeah, that's why I think it's just so funny, because, like, in the modern movies, he never really, to my knowledge, kills anybody. Like, he knocks them out, I guess, and they go to jail, but it's just so weird that in this one, he's just mowing down everybody.
Yeah.
Again, I understand why, but it's just funny to see, like, oh, you killed so many fucking people, dude. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see that reflected in him just coming into modern day, like, oh, we're not in war anymore. I have to try not to kill everyone.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is, like, the moment he comes back, he goes into another war, pretty much. So it's
exactly. But
really
it's funny because it's different, where killing aliens isn't seen as the same. But, I mean, it's basically the same.
Yeah.
Like, they're killing them,
Mm-hmm.
so...
And I was telling you yesterday, but, like, I've been getting a lot into, like, DC lately, because modern Marvel makes me want to blow my own head off. So, like, it's funny, because, again, Batman never fucking kills. Like, he doesn't want to kill people.
But it's somehow still the darkest story.
Yeah, but, like, aliens, it feels like he has no fucking problem killing them, which I think it's funny, like, watching movies or reading comics, like, no one cares if he kills aliens.
Yeah.
Like, most people are like, oh, if Batman kills this one guy in, like, an alley, then, oh my god, that's not Batman, but he's fucking mowing down aliens. I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just think that is something that's funny. Like, nothing really, I just popped me, I guess, think it's funny that killing aliens, like, who the fuck cares? But, like, killing that guy, it's like, whoa, that's fucking, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, can't do that. So
Don't kill a rapist.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that.
Yeah, I know. It's like, dude can't kill the Joker, but kills a random alien who probably had a fucking family. It's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I don't know.
And it's funny, if you look at the Falcon and Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent, he killed that one dude, and they're like, oh, Captain America. Captain America doesn't kill. And that you can really see the
Are you sure about that?
I don't want to say disconnect, but it kind of just doesn't transfer over in his time skip that, you know, he did at one point kill a fuck ton of people.
Yeah.
So it's...
That shit fucking sucks, so I get it, but that is weird. And it might be because they witnessed it, and maybe, like, people never really saw him kill people. Yeah. So I feel like they'd be like, oh, but, like, the fact that it was recorded of him bashing that dude's fucking brains in so brutally, I think really got to people. But it's still really stupid. That's like, oh, he doesn't kill people? Yeah, he fucking does. Like, there's definitely, like, hey, you guys know he was in World War II, killed so many fucking Nazis, right? It's like...
They're Nazis.
Yeah, and I get it. They're Nazis. They deserve to die. But people being like, oh my god, Captain America doesn't kill. He kills so many fucking people. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing that they show that, you know, he's... You know, he has this whole thing that was, oh, he's a good guy, and that's why they gave him the serum, because it, you know, boosts emotions.
Yeah. So
it's really cool to see... I would assume that that's what they're doing. He's like, oh, he's a good guy. He doesn't want to kill people.
Yeah.
And then you go to look at this movie, and he's killing people no problem.
Yeah.
Because, like, one of the questions is, oh, do you want to go kill Nazis? He's like, is this a trick question?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He's like, no, I just don't like bullies. Mm-hmm. But then he has no problem killing a bunch of Nazis.
That's a big issue, I think. Because, like, I can't think, like, who's the first person that he killed? Like, I don't know. Like, that guy who, like, kidnapped a kid, but even he didn't kill him. He killed himself.
Yeah, that was cyanide.
Yeah, but, like, I would have liked to see a scene where, like, he had to kill somebody and was like, oh, fuck. I just killed somebody.
Yeah, it would also been interesting to see... I think it would have fit his character more if he, you know, tried to save the guy.
Yeah.
And take him in instead of letting him die.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they didn't. They just, like, oh... He's dead. Gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just like, it is so weird that, like, again, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if they didn't establish, like, oh, do you want to kill him? No, I don't want to kill anybody. It's like, yeah. But again, the rest of the movie, you kill so many people that, and again, it's just...
He doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And yet he does it anyways.
Yeah, and they do deserve it. They're Nazis, they deserve it, but it's just like, would he kill all those people? Like, you'd think that he'd just try to knock them out and be like, okay, I don't want to kill any of you because I'm not a bad guy, but it's just that they don't mention that how he feels about it ever. It's just like, oh yeah, I don't want to kill people, but then the whole rest of the franchise is killing people, so it's like, That's kind of weird.
And it could be seen, because most of the killing happens around Bucky, just because, they went to break him out. He's like, oh, I got to get my friend out, do what I have to.
Yeah.
But then, after that, they go on that mission, and he's obviously he has to kill people.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you have to do it.
Yeah.
But after Bucky dies, you see him go on a bunch of missions, blowing everything up. So I think there's that part of me that thinks, that maybe, his friend died, so he's, getting revenge. But again, the movie doesn't show that, so you're left to assume if that's what he's doing or not. Which, realistically, watching the movie, it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, he walked past it. But it would make sense of why that could be a different, acting the way he is.
Yeah.
Instead of, being the good guy. But it's just, I don't think that's what they were going for. I think they just thought, oh, it's a war movie. People are going to die. We don't need to think about, his character. Which, it sucks because now you have, again, other plot holes. Like, oh, he killed people for just fine.
Yeah.
But now he's like, no, don't kill people.
Yeah, and for so many years, too. Because, again, I don't know how long the movie is, but, like you said, the big problem is that it jumps around so fucking much. And, the second half is basically just an action montage. Where just random things keep happening. But it's just, I don't know, but I know... I don't know, but I know. I don't know, but I think it starts out in 42 and ends in 45, I'm pretty sure. But, that's, a good, 4-something years. So it's, 3 or 4 some years of him killing so many people. So it's just, I don't know. It's just weird because it's he had no problem killing all those people. But in the future, can't have him killing people, so...
Yeah, and, again, the whole reason why the doctor gave it to him because he was a nice guy, and he's literally they had this whole conversation. It's basically the with great power comes great responsibility speech. But it shows that he was like, oh no, I believe you won't abuse this power because you can understand and value this power instead of someone who's had power their whole life.
Yeah.
And then he just goes ahead and uses it for whatever he wants. Not exactly whatever he wants, but he doesn't...
Killing all those people. So.
Yeah, he's not showing restraint.
Yeah, seriously. What else was there? There's something else I wanted to say. Where'd it go? Oh, like you said, there's some people deserve to die. Red Skull, fucking yeah, kill him. Please kill him. Because, again, big thing with Batman, too. It's his thing is oh yeah, it's a speech he said at one time. It was you can kill a killer, but the number of killers in the world stays the same, or something like that. And it's yeah, I get that, but if you kill 2 killers, so it's it's for Batman, it's oh, I can't kill the Joker if I let myself go into that place. Yeah, but you can let that fucker kill him. Let Gordon fucking pop the fucking dude's head off. He's killed so many fucking people, so it's times like that where I'm okay, I love Batman, love his stories and shit, but sometimes you gotta let the fucker die, because he's a fucking evil piece of shit. Red Skull, evil piece of shit, deserved to die. And it's something that I hated in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where Falcon's oh, I'm not gonna let the known terrorist who's killed so many people die. I'm gonna keep being oh no, please understand her. She's not a bad guy. No, she's a fucking villain, killing all these fucking people. And that's something that I feel is kind of a switch where it's Falcon's oh no, we can't kill her, she's bad. But Falcon, you know how many fucking people you've killed in the past few fucking movies who didn't do anything to you?
Bro, you literally use bullets.
Yeah, I know. So it's just that's something that is weird about killing in the movies and stuff. Iron Man never had a fucking problem with killing, so I don't care when he kills, because he never said he doesn't want to. Yeah. So it's just that thing where it's I forget the chick's name in Falcon because she was so fucking terrible, but it's yeah, her, kill her. Yeah. Go ahead. She's killed all these people. Please fucking kill her. But when he's oh no, I can't do it. It's yeah, you fucking can. It's just so weird. But in this one, it's it makes sense, because again, Red Skull, a lot more evil than her. Yeah. But they've both killed so many people, so it's it understands why Captain America's yeah, I gotta fucking kill this guy. And Falcon's like, oh no, I can't kill her. It's like, no, dude, yes you can. Yes you can. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird to see sometimes that they're like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
And then other
Yeah,
times like,
seriously.
no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It goes against my morals. I'm like,
Yeah.
bitch, did you watch your last movie?
Yeah, seriously. Like, it makes sense with some characters. Like,
Yeah.
the two main ones I can think of in Marvel are Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Spider-Man doesn't really say it that much, but...
He's a kid, so he's
yeah,
not going to.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I don't think anyone really dies in his movies,
I don't
like,
think so.
by his hand.
Not by his hand.
Yeah, like, sure, some of them, like Mysterio, he killed himself pretty much.
Yeah.
And, like, that was it. Everyone else either goes to jail or that's it. So, he never kills anybody.
Yeah.
And Daredevil, his main fucking thing is I can't kill people.
Yeah.
So I just think that that's a cool thing because like his coach like no I can never fucking
Yeah.
even if they super deserve it I can't do it.
Yeah, like Wilson Fisk.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
And watching the Daredevil show, you see him struggle with that.
Yeah, like that's
where-
a whole thing in season 3.
Because he's like, oh, the law isn't working. What else can I do? I can kill him, but then I lose myself.
Yeah.
So I like. Daredevil is a phenomenal show in the way that they portray his character.
Yeah.
Like he's an actual human.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of
Seriously.
this, glorified superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So, showing that characters have a human side instead of being action, action, action.
Yeah.
It really benefits show or movie you're trying to create because then you can connect on like, oh, he's the same as us. He's a human.
Exactly.
He has a conscience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. It's like boost the movie or like I said, boost the movie or show you're trying to create with great character writing. You have to create the character correctly. You can't just have the name and be like, go do something.
Yeah, I know. That's seriously how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all that stuff is just like you can't say something and then retract it like 5 seconds later. Like if someone has a rule where it's like, oh, I don't want to kill anybody, it's like, dude, you're killing people still. So it's just like I don't know why I feel so weird about it, but it's just like because again they're Nazis, they fucking deserve it. But like even in the whole rest of the series, he has no problem with killing people if need be. So it's just funny because it's like, dude, I'm not a bully. It's like, dude, you bullied that motherfucker. He's dead. Like okay, so I feel like you can't really establish something like that and then just break it like instantly in the same movie.
And then say like, oh, he's still a good guy.
Yeah, it's
he
like
totally followed what his original character would have done.
Yeah, and it's like he is a good guy, great hero, but he still killed people. So
yeah,
like you can't just I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many things in this movie that I actually didn't think we were gonna go this deep into it, but when you really look deep into it, you can see what's actually happening with the movie. So yeah.
Again, not terrible.
No.
Not terrible movie,
Not terrible.
but just so many things that like you wish they'd establish more. So again, shouldn't have been one movie.
No. Well, I think that's all I have.
Yeah,
so.
it's really not much else to talk about, pretty much. But yeah, middle of the road movie, I'd say. Definitely one of the highest of Phase 1.
Yeah.
Not the highest, but...
No, Iron Man definitely goes way above this one.
Yeah, definitely. So. But it just sucks because Chris Evans did a fantastic job, and I'm glad that in the rest of the series he's basically the same.
I'm glad it's not his last movie because if this was where it ended, that would have been
Yeah.
But he does get to redeem himself in all the future movies that he's in, so we're really glad that Marvel took off because if it didn't, we wouldn't get this amazing series that they have going now. So
well, not now.
But
yeah, I know what you mean. It's just but yeah, so I don't remember where I was. I wrote down how much I ranked him so far, but yeah, it definitely is gonna go below First Class because that one is just a lot better than this one. Let's see where I put up. Yeah, is it better than Spider-Man though? No.
Not really.
No. Better than Iron Man 2, though. So yeah, it's pretty high up there, but definitely one that like.
Yeah, it's definitely middle ranking
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But for like the main MCU one, like excluding X-Men and Spider-Man and stuff,
Yeah,
like it's definitely like number 2. So,
yeah, if none of these other movies existed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know, but I'd give it like a 6 out of 10, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
Higher than just a slight bit higher than mid, but
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I guess Captain America won for us. Let's hope this recording doesn't
Oh my
fuck up.
God.
Like, please.
if it breaks, I'm gonna die.
I know. But yeah, so next time we're diving into the finale of Phase 1 of the Avengers. I forgot to fucking name somehow. The Avengers.
The Justice League.
The guys.
Yeah.
So the Avengers finale of Phase 1 is next week. So we're finally done Phase 1, and then big ranking video, and then move on to whatever else until we get to Phase 2. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and let us know if you enjoyed the us talking in the same room, because I know this was a lot better than how it normally is. So really glad about that. Let us know if it's good or what else you'd want us to improve or whatever. And next week we finish Phase 1. So yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. So bye-bye.
Bye.